Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Think Small podcast. I'm your host, Denise Steinbring, and today's guest is going to challenge something that a lot of founders believe, that if the product is great and the customers are happy, the business will grow. For 25 years, that was true for one freight company, and then they brought in someone specifically to prove that that wasn't enough anymore. So Josh Asbury is the COO of Infinity Software Solutions, the Decatur, Alabama company behind BrokerPro, which is one of the longest standing transportation management systems in the freight broker market. Founded in 1999, BrokerPro has survived long enough to watch dozens of competitors come and go, has processed millions of loads for freight brokers and 3PLs across the country, and has built the kind of customer loyalty that most software companies would kill for. Josh came in not to fix what was broken, but to accelerate what was already working and to make the biggest product bet in the company's history. Josh, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Denise. Thank you for having me.
Can you maybe put that a little bit in more plain English? Like, what is it that your business does? What services do you offer, and kind of who are your customers?
Yeah, sure thing. So Infinity Software Solutions, we have two products. One is the BrokerPro Transportation Management System, and the other is BrokerOS. Right? BrokerOS is a relatively new entrant. But the BrokerPro Transportation Management System, really what it does is it is the operational framework for freight brokers and 3PLs. So if they are, freight brokers, they work with shippers or manufacturers who need to get, a pallet of ping pong balls from New York City to San Francisco. They will work with a freight broker to find a carrier, a trucker or trucking company to move that pallet of ping pong balls from point A to point B. And so the freight broker, so they're working with hundreds, thousands of shippers. They might be working with thousands of carriers. The freight broker is really the person who manages that relationship, gets the transportation handled, and also ensures that they pay the carrier and pay the shipper, the manufacturing company. And so there's a lot of details that are involved with that. And our software helps them track and keep track of all those details. So for example, you might have been hearing recently, I think there was a thing on 60 Minutes a few weeks ago about freight fraud. Well, it's a big problem in the freight industry. So freight broker, if they work with a customer, shipper, to get those ping pong balls from point A to point B, they need to make sure the carriers that they're working with, the trucking companies, are legitimate trucking companies and not people who are fraudulent carriers or who might steal that load, who might do unsavory things. So there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of things to get tracked that freight brokers do, and our software helps them do that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that more plain English description. I think that helps us understand what you do. Before I get into Infinity Software Solutions and what you're building there, I want to have you share with the audience the career that led you here, right? You spent a decade at LifeRay. You built the 3PL commercial operation at HubTran. You stayed through the Triumph Pay acquisition. So you've been deep in this industry and into B2B SaaS for 20 years. What did all of that teach you about how growth actually gets built in a software company?
The core learning I have over the trajectory of my career is I know absolutely nothing. And every day is you wake up and you just have to adapt and figure it out. When I joined the LifeRay team, I was employee number 50 or 60, somewhere in there. And I'd been actually working with the LifeRay product. It was an open source portal technology. When I was running the e-business team at a Batesville Casket Company in Batesville, Indiana, and software, and I loved the company. And so they asked me to join them. So I did, to lead sales, to lead the sales efforts. And I wasn't a sales guy. I knew nothing about it, but figured it out. And so we grew by adding, we doubled down on our partnership ecosystem. So I learned how to become a partner manager. We use that to help us scale. We figured out, okay, wow, we need sales engineering talent now. What does sales engineering program look like? So we kind of pieced things together, and as we needed to. And the great part about that time at LifeRay is that we were a bootstrapped company. We were self-funded. So we didn't have the luxury or also the pressure of managing a burn rate that a lot of companies who've taken on private equity and investment capital need to do. So having that frugality mindset really helped us. We never overhired, and we would only hire people or add capabilities when we were really, really, really hurting. And so I learned a lot about scaling a company, just because you figure when you don't have the money to hire the right people, you figure it out. You figure out how to become a CRM admin, because guess what? I can't afford a Salesforce admin right now. Okay, well, this is good enough.
Yeah.
And did that for 10 years, and we grew and we scaled, and it was a lot of fun. And took on the sales for Latin America, which was a whole other can of worms of something I was wholly ill prepared for. But we figured it out. Then I joined HubTran, which on paper seemed to be relatively easy, right? It was a smaller company, but I knew nothing about freight. Well, the sales practices and the customer success practices and account management practices and all that type of stuff, it's very similar. Just you just have to learn a new industry. And so we built up the marketing machine, we built up customer success, we built up onboarding. And again, it was just the whole just being flexible and figuring things out. So after the acquisition by TriumphPay, which was a lot of fun and to go through, because I'd never been through an acquisition before. So that part, while they were doing their due diligence on the company, had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that was a great time. From there, I joined Cherry. So I kind of Cherry is a groundbreaking company in the real estate analytics world. They're using the stuff they're doing is absolutely cool. If there are any real estate investors out there, I highly recommend you check out Cherry, CHERRE. I ran RevOps there and helped with the sales function, helped with the marketing function, kind of tied all the different pieces together, because that's kind of what I'm good at. And then I got pulled back into the transportation space by coming here and working for Infinity.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it sounds like you've built a lot of resilience over those different transitions, and I'm the figure it out guy, right?
Yeah, that really is what it comes down to. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay if the day that you feel like you know everything, you are sorely mistaken. And just a case in point today. We're running through a contract with one of our with a new partner of ours, and it's one of those contracts that's really way too long, and I'm not a smart enough guy to understand everything. And so I need to get a second set of eyes on it. So I'm leaning on some old friends of mine who are contract people.
Very cool. Well, Infinity Software Solutions has something that a lot of software companies never get, right? 25 years of customer trust built largely on relationships, referrals, and a product that just works. And so that's actually how you survive in freight tech. Most TMS companies don't last 5 years, let alone 25. But sustaining a business and growing fast are two completely different games. So when you arrived there, what was the actual state of the commercial engine, since this is what you're good at, and what's been harder to change maybe than you expected?
The state of the commercial engine, it was stable, right? And with 25 years of experience, we had not stagnated. That's not the right word for it, but I think we left a lot of opportunity on the table when it comes to new customer acquisition, but also growth with existing customers. And so I spent the first few months really just kind of trying to understand, okay, why do our customers stay so long? Like we did not have a big churn problem with like stable, good customers. So that was great. But also our growth rate had slowed. So why is that? Well, a lot of it really came down to the way we talked about ourselves, and that we didn't have a lot of marketing, go-to-market type messages. It was truly word of mouth that people found out about us. And this isn't about spamming people, but this is about saying, hey, when someone is looking for a transportation management system, we really should be considered, because you have all these flashy startups that had come into the freight tech world that had all types of funding, and they had marketing teams that were bigger than our entire company. That's great, but how about we lean in on the message that, hey, these whippersnappers might have some cool technology, but we've been around for 25 years. We've seen a lot, and we understand how freight brokers really need to work, and they're still, and I'm not saying their technology is bad. They're still figuring it out, and so we leaned in on that message, and it really resonated with customers. But then at the same point with our existing customers, we needed to go through and understand, okay, what is our purpose? Our purpose is we're not just like some back end system for you. Our goal as a company is to help our customers grow, because if they're growing and successful, then we are as well. What are the gaps that we have at the product level that we need to fill? And then how do we help? And then of course, by filling those gaps, that helps us become even stronger as we address the new business customers. So that's kind of what the state of the company was. We really just had to pull in the marketing mindset, do some sales enablement, tie that into the product messaging, pull that stuff together into something that was cohesive and made sense, that we could execute on.
And for those founders and small business owners that see marketing as sort of a cost center, like maybe I can't afford to do that right now, what would you tell them about, when done well, marketing can really be the value creator for an organization?
Yeah, I think that any founder or anybody who feels like that they can't afford or shouldn't invest in marketing, your company is going to be gone in 5 years. And what do I mean by that? This isn't just buying a billboard or on the side of a highway. Marketing is not a separate function. It is really about your brand's perception to both new customers and potential customers and existing customers, but also your partners as well. If you say you want to integrate with somebody, they're not going to integrate with a platform, or they're not going to work with a company that they've never heard of before, or that they think has a negative brand perception. So marketing, by having a strong go-to-market message, a coherent value proposition, impacts more than just new business sales coming in, impacts every part of your business. And so when you do marketing right, and when you think about marketing, again, it's not just a function. Marketing is also about sales enablement. It ties into product management. Okay, when you start to do the research to say, hey, how do we compare to another transportation management system? All right, I want to understand why people would choose somebody, so the marketing research does that. And I want to understand why somebody would choose, platform A versus us. And if there is a product gap, I want to fill that. If it's a messaging gap, something we already do, I need to make sure people know that we do that just as well or even better than somebody else. So again, marketing isn't just about just buying ads. It's not just about showing up at the right conferences. It's really about making sure that you have a seat at the table for all the different opportunities that are out there.
Yeah. I think you mentioned this earlier, where sometimes it's just inertia, right? You've always kind of done it this way and you don't know how to do it a different way, but there's always people that can come around you and figure it out, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and when you think about inertia, I was doing a recording this morning with one of with CloneOps, who's one of our new artificial intelligence partners, and their COO and I were talking, and we were talking about my time at Liferay, and so we had two competitors really. One of those competitors were the big guys, IBM and Oracle, and we took down IBM and Oracle all the time. But we were an open source platform, so our other competitor was ourselves, which was free.
Yeah.
So we were in this so let's figure out. I can beat IBM and Oracle on features and price and all this type of stuff, but how do you market and how do you sell against yourself when you have a free open source application, right? So it's like, okay, let's figure out how do you, from an open source perspective, what is your true value proposition of why people would want to pay for your services? And so that was an interesting time and a challenge for us.
Yeah, interesting. So in 2025, you mentioned you launched a new product called BrokerOS, which is a genuinely ambitious expansion from a transportation management system into a full technology suite for freight brokers, including AI-powered websites, a customer relationship tool, and data intelligence tools. And that's a very different product and different buyer conversation than will help you move more loads. So I want to really hear more about how that decision got made. What gap did you see in the market? Because the way you described it to me is one of the best examples of customer-driven product strategy that I've heard of in a while. So walk us through how BrokerOS was born.
Sure. So when shortly after I started, I think I said earlier that, I did an assessment of what our strengths were from at the product level and all of that good stuff. And one of the things we kept coming back to is that our customers loved us. They had a deep, solid relationship with our team, and that was just because of the fact that we were genuinely invested in customer service and customer support. And we customer calls, we answer the phone. It's and having that, when things go sideways, not if things go sideways, the customers knew that they could rely on us. So we kept digging in, and I kept doing the whole Simon Sinek, well, why type conversation, right? And what it really turned into is what the reason that we are as good as we are, and the reason we've been able to survive for 25 years is that we genuinely care about our customer success. So if something goes sideways in the system, we want to fix it. Okay, and so I thought, all right, that's great, that's wonderful. How can I sell that? Well, how can I monetize that? Well, as a transportation management system, there's really only so much you can do to really help a customer grow their business. You can make them more efficient. You can help them cut costs. You can do all this type of stuff. But I thought, man, if we really care about helping a customer win, helping them succeed, let's help them really, truly grow their business. So we doubled down and we invested in helping them market. We invested in helping them sell. So the marketing piece, like, okay, if you look at most freight brokers' web presences, they're terrible. They're absolutely abhorrent.
Really?
They're leaving money on the table. And their brand perception when a shipper is looking for a broker is awful. Well, I don't want that to happen for our customers. Mm-hmm. So we put together BrokerOS Web, which is a web platform that's not just like pretty website templates. What this is it's actually working to help them appear in agentic searches, to help them really modernize the way that they are going to market. Because Google searches matter. ChatGPT and Gemini appearances and Claude mentions and all that stuff matters just as much. Mm-hmm. So we're helping them modernize there, but then that feeds into their CRM. And most, sadly, maybe I won't say most, probably most freight brokers don't have a CRM. So their sales machine is broken, and that they don't have a good way of knowing who's hit their websites, who with my sales reps, who needs to reach out to which shipper, what's my win rate, what's my lose rate, all this stuff that you do inside of a CRM. So, okay, let's build that out for you because they haven't invested in it. They don't have the ability to do it. We're going to do that for you. And finally, now that we have all this information from the web, from LinkedIn, from all these different systems coming in, from the TMS, we can put that into a data analytics platform. Because again, if they haven't invested in a website or a CRM, you're not going to invest in a data warehouse, are you? So we have that piece as well. And so we doubled down on what we were good at, which is serving customers, and we really cared. But then I kind of realized, oh wow, this has widened our total addressable market by 1,000-fold, because people have a TMS, they're going to be locked into that TMS. It's their operational platform. But now I don't care what TMS you use. If you're using a competitor of ours, I can still serve you. If you stay on your TMS, be happy there. I can still serve you with these other applications that will help you grow.
And when you make the case for investing in these things, in these marketing and sales enablement tools, is it kind of a no-brainer for your customers, or do you have to really try to sell them on the value of making this investment?
A little bit of both. And so the one, again, I love the word inertia, right? When you have a business that has been successful, so say a freight broker has been successful for 15, 20 years, and they have not made this type of investment, when they look at a price tag that really comes with like a pseudo marketing agency, right?
Right.
Because it's a lot of work. It is hard. This isn't like this isn't just a rinse and repeat type thing. they're like, whoa, I'm not, I don't want to spend that. Of course you don't. But nobody wants to spend money, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you have to educate a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Um, but the ones who get it, they get it. And it's almost like it's a no-brainer for them to spend it because they understand that, if you are a freight broker and you're moving, say, 500 loads a month, you want to show up in the same conversations as TQL, who's moving, 500 loads a minute, right? You want to, so we're helping to level the playing field with,
Yeah. Yeah,
for
makes sense. So for those that are listening that might, be a single product company and they're thinking about expanding to a platform like you just did, what's the most important thing to get right in the first 12 months that most companies get wrong?
Oh, that's a phenomenal question because there's so many different things that you can get wrong. Uh, I think that really understanding why you're trying to build something, and let that be your North Star,
Okay.
is important. So what do I mean? And so how does that apply to me and what we did with BrokerOS? Well, when I announced this at TIA, which is our big annual conference a year ago in 2025, um, I really truly thought that BrokerOS was going to be um, easier than it was. But as I got deeper into it, it's like, okay, the CRM piece is very, very important, but that's not as important as getting the BrokerOS web stuff right. And so you have your big hairy dreams of what you think this thing is going to do. But then when you get into the real battle, you're like, okay, this is actually where I need to double down right now.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, yeah, you want to be when you make any sort of announcement or make any sort of commitment, yeah, you have timelines that you want to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be beholden to your timelines. Make sure you get something as right as possible and continue iterate on that and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Sounds kind of like brace for impact, right? Because nothing's going to always go the way that you planned it, even with the best plan.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I will say to anybody listening that the yeah, the landscape has changed and it continues to change so quickly because of our ability to utilize AI, right? Lean into that. When we first started developing this a year and a half or 2 years ago, Codex, Claude, ChatGPT, like all these different engines that were not nearly as good as they are today. And today they're not nearly as good as they're going to be 2 years from now. So we are able to iterate so much faster on things, whether it's from creation of marketing materials to creation of code to even like putting out MVPs and just getting concepts right. It's made us so much faster and so much better than we were a year ago. So I know a lot of companies are not investing the resources into it, and I would say if you aren't doing that now, start. And if you don't do that, then you're wasting time. And because the people who are competing with you or have maybe a worse idea than you,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing it, and they're going to beat you to market.
Yeah. So maybe you can explain a little bit what RevOps is. That's a fairly newer term, right? People know what sales is, they know what marketing is, but what is the purpose of RevOps? And talk a little bit about some of the AI that you've been able to bring into Infinity Software Solutions.
Yeah, so RevOps is revenue operations, and it's a relatively new field, and I'm actually yeah, I'm interested to see how it evolves over the next few years because of AI. But RevOps is the connective tissue between sales, marketing, finance, product, you name it. And the concept and the idea behind RevOps at a very high level is that um, if something happens in marketing, sales needs to know about it, and when sales closes something, marketing needs to know about it. And then if anything closes, of course, finance needs to know about it. Now, why is that important? Well, marketing wants to be able to, for many different reasons, attribute have attribution. So, if so they can double down and invest in what's working. So, if I run a LinkedIn campaign and I spend $10,000 on it and I don't close, and the sales reps aren't able to close any deals about it, close any deals as a result of that campaign, then maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. But if I'm able to say, hey, they closed, I spent 10 grand and they closed 100 grand worth of deals, I'm going to keep doing that, right? So I want to be able to attribute all these different touches to, this marketing campaigns for all these different sales touches and things like that. So, but getting that done and getting that done right is really hard because you have to connect the marketing systems with the CRM, pick all the different systems, and RevOps kind of helps pull all that stuff together.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. For those listeners who maybe are dabbling in AI, right? They understand what ChatGPT is. They can find answers to certain problems. Is there a better place to start in the organization than commercial? We see a lot of founders that are using it for operations to go faster or build more efficiency into how they do their work. But there's also the commercial benefit of that where, you can build agents to do a lot of things that sales reps spend time on, like looking for new prospects and things like that. So what would you tell a founder who's just sort of sticking their toe in the water with AI? Like, how do you actually start if you don't know a lot about it?
Yeah, I think that I guess it depends on the founder, and it depends on if you're a technical person, probably you've already started. So I'll think more. I'll position this as more of a non-technical for a non-technical audience. I think what would be really interesting would be for a founder that's never really done anything with ChatGPT, never done anything with Claude. Pick a platform. It's an arms race right now between the two of them. You can't go wrong. But pick one and then just say, okay, take your latest pitch deck, a sales deck, upload it and say, and don't even give much of a prompt. And say, would you critique this for me? And then say as part of that prompt, say, ask clarifying questions. And then begin just working with the agent to critique your sales deck and your sales pitch. And then maybe take that and do one of the things I love to do, particularly as I'm pitching BrokerOS Web, is to plug into Claude to say, all right, hey, I'm going to be pitching this customer. This is their website. This is their background. Would you do a thorough SEO and agentic audit of their website and let me know what the gaps are and how I should pitch to them? And if you do that type of thing, you're going to go, oh, wow, cool. It's amazing what they can get back very quickly.
Yes.
And then you're going to start going down these rabbit trails of, and what else can I find out?
Yeah.
So I would just say, just start inspecting yourself. Do that on your own website. You'll be shocked at the things that you're leaving on the table, right? And as a founder, you can use that information to, do more, do better things.
Yeah.
But the point is, you just have to start.
Okay, well, that's a wonderful to do on Monday morning, right? If you've never really taken the time to do it, because it becomes very addictive, right? You learn a lot of things and say, oh, well, this is all information I didn't know before. So that's a great tidbit that anyone listening can go do on Monday morning. Well, Josh, this has been a genuinely valuable conversation. From everything that you've learned in your career, what's sort of the one piece of wisdom you would like to leave with our learning audience, who are business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, working through something that's hard right now? What can you leave with them?
Yeah, I mean, my mantra is just to always stay curious and always try to figure out. You're never going to wake up if you're a business owner or founder, a COO. There's not going to be a day where something doesn't need to be fixed. And I would say always stay curious and try to find novel approaches to fix things or streamline things. Today it's AI, tomorrow it'll be something else. But just always just kind of don't accept the status quo. Always be thinking about how can things get better, and then knock something off the list.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you for that. So for listeners who want to learn more about BrokerPro or BrokerOS or connect with you, where should they go?
Yeah, they can just go to brokerpro.com. There's also brokeros.com. or just reach out to me. It's very easy, josh@brokerpro.com. So happy to speak with anybody and connect.
Excellent. And to our Think Small listeners, if today's conversation made you think a little differently about the difference between a business that survives and a business that scales, or if it gave you one concrete thing to do differently with your data, your brand, or your commercial AI strategy, share it with somebody who needs it. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Denise.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?